Okay, welcome back everyone for the next session for our training program today. We've got Eden Matheson who's with us. He'll be covering how to do live streams. Now, Eden is from Leeds, UK. He's currently studying a master's in aerospace and aeronautical engineering in London. He's also a photographer and a videographer. He's done a lot of work behind the scenes as the director behind the scenes for the Lineage Journey. And he's also working with the NEC Youth Advisory for, well, you've been with them for a few years now, with the social media team and the communications team. You do a lot of behind the scenes work on Sabbaths, live streams for most Sabbaths. And, you know, I think, I've had the opportunity to work with you, Eden, for a short time last year. It was fantastic. Whenever there was a bit of a hiccup that happened on any of the live streams, Eden was that guy that just got everything back up and running real quick. So Eden, grateful to have you with us. I'm going to hand over to you, and I'll let you take it away for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you. So hey guys, hope you are well. So today we're going to be talking about live streaming, and we're going to be focusing on live streaming on Zoom. Now, we're all familiar with Zoom. Everyone joining here, you're joining me on Zoom, and also we're live streaming, aren't we, Craig? You said.
Where we live well, what's happening? What we're doing is it's recording, so it's streaming right now. It's gone over to we're just recording it for private. It's private, so it's not. Someone can't watch it right now at this moment.
Okay, that's cool. Because when I'm on meetings, whether they're being live streamed or whether they're private meetings, I always refer to them as meetings. So so whenever I talk about streaming, I am talking about live streaming, but yeah, let's just keep that in mind. Okay, so so yeah. So you've heard a bit about me. I am an engineer, but I'm quite technical and quite creative when it comes to the cameras and stuff. So I do photography, and I am a videographer as well. So back in and working with the NEC Youth Advisory for a few years now. One thing that I wanted to address was in 2020, so obviously 2020, I don't know what you guys think about, but what I think about when I think of 2020, near the top of my list is live streaming, just the importance of live streaming, and yeah, so we're gonna kind of get into that, but I should give you a disclaimer. So I'm no expert when it comes to live streaming, and there are many ways to stream. However, in this training that I'll be providing today, this is based off of my experiences, everything that I've kind of learned throughout 2020, and this is kind of this change. It was trial and error, and I'm at a point today where I feel like I have a sort of a streamlined workflow that kind of works. There's a lot of moving parts, but I'll show you how we kind of worked up to get to that. But yeah, so yes, let me define. So I'm going to define again what I mean by streaming. So when I speak of streaming or live streaming, I'm talking about delivering video content live on social media to share your program to many people. So so right now this is being streamed, but yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to do this so you can kind of see this presentation. Hopefully you can see that. So these are the topics I'll be covering today. So I want to kind of break it down. So I want to show you the quickest way to live stream, the quickest way to get up and running with live streaming. I want to show you streaming to multiple platforms. So that's streaming to multiple platforms simultaneously, because you can't do that using Zoom alone. I'll be talking about the importance of screen sharing. So right now I'm sharing my screen and showing your videos, because as simple as this may be right now, this is the way, or using the method that I'm using right now, this is the way that you would show videos, so pre-recorded videos with different people. And troubleshooting and workaround and tips. So we're going to be talking about things that have gone wrong, things that we needed a workaround to kind of make the process go smoothly, and also tips. So tips to make your life easier, and also tips to maybe up your production level. But as I said, there's a lot of moving parts, or there can be a lot of moving parts. But I want to keep it simple by showing you the quickest way to stream
meetings. There's a few.
So let's get into it.
Okay, before we start streaming meetings, there's a few requirements which we must meet. The first one, and the most important one, is what accounts we have, what Zoom account we have. There are 5 accounts. The first one is the basic plan, which is the free one, and then the other ones, such as your pro, your business, your education, and your enterprise accounts, are paid plans. The first time I made a Zoom account, I upgraded to the pro version, and that was just mainly due to a longer meeting time. 40 minutes wasn't enough, so I upgraded, and I was able to stream. But little did I know that pro plan, upgrading to that pro plan, would allow me to stream. So that's one thing to have in mind. If you would like to stream, you'd need a pro plan or above. So these are the things that you would need to live stream using Zoom. It's common to live stream using YouTube and Facebook, but in the case of YouTube, there's one thing that you need to do before you're able to live stream. And that one thing is just to make sure that you're verified and able to live stream. To do this, in the address bar, type in youtube.com/features. You may need to sign in, but once you're there, check the features that require phone verification under feature eligibility, and you should see live streaming just there. Look for the enabled sign in the top right of this box, and as long as that's there, you should be able to live stream. So I'm heading over now to youtube.com/verify, and as long as your YouTube account is verified, as mine is here, then you should be able to stream. Oh, and one more thing, you'll need to enable live streaming within Zoom, and to do this, head over to zoom.us, and whilst we're over here, you should know that there's 2 parts to Zoom. There's the web version, and then there's the desktop client version. Here on the web version, you would need to sign up if you don't already have an account, or if you do, click on sign in. I think the easiest way to sign in is to use your Google account or to use your Facebook account. I'll be using my Google account, so I'll click on here, and that will bring us to the Google account selector. So here you can see the 2 accounts that I have. My media account, which is under a basic plan, so I don't want to be using this one to live stream. And then we've got the NEC account, that one's under a pro account, I believe, so we do want to be using this one to live stream. So we just give this a click, and that will bring us into the Zoom meetings area. Now this is where you schedule meetings, this is where you view your upcoming meetings, previous meetings. On the left you can also access your profile, your webinars, and so basically this is where you want to come when you want to set up anything related to Zoom. But what we want to do is we want to go into the admin settings. So on the bottom left, we want to go to account management and look for account settings, which is this one. And then we want to access the advanced meeting settings. So if you click on here, that will bring us to that part of the meeting settings. And if we scroll down a little, we should see allow live streaming of meetings. Here we want to check all the platforms that we would like to stream to. So that's Facebook. We want to check, you can check Workplace by Facebook if you'd like, but I don't really use that. Check YouTube and check custom live streaming service. This is for streaming to anything other than Facebook and YouTube. And we will speak more on this later, as this is pretty important with multi-streaming or stream to other platforms. You want to save that, and that is everything you need to do to be able to stream. So now everything is enabled, we can start off with the first topic, which is the quickest way to live stream using Zoom. And if you haven't already, make sure you've downloaded the Zoom software or the Zoom client, and that's easily done by just clicking download here. Once that's downloaded, you should get the desktop client, which looks like this, and you all know what to do, just sign in. I'm going to be signing in using the NEC Youth Gmail account. Then you want to launch Zoom by clicking this, and that will bring you into the software where you can see all the upcoming meetings. If you can't see this meetings page, you want to click on the meetings tab at the top between chat and contacts. Here are all your reoccurring and scheduled meetings, and here is your personal meeting Zoom room, and this is the one that we'll be using as an example today. So we're going to give this a click and start the Zoom room, start the meeting. And this is the window that you're probably all familiar with. So join with computer audio to allow your mic to come through, and I'm going to mute it because that's not important right now. Because I'm a host, I can go down to more in the bottom right hand corner, and we can see these live streaming options which we enabled in the settings. So I want to go live on YouTube, so I'm going to click on live on YouTube, and that should bring up a YouTube live prompt. This is where you title the live stream, and this is where you would set the privacy. But in this case, I have an error message up here. This is because Zoom is trying to live stream to this NEC Youth account, which doesn't have a YouTube channel. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to say this is not me. We're going to click into NEC Youth again, and we're going to make sure that we are on the NEC Youth YouTube. So I'm going to give that a click because that's the one that has a YouTube channel attached to it. And now we can see the go live option. Before we go live, I'm going to rename this to NEC Youth Meeting Room Test. So I'm going to set the privacy to private just so no one gets notified when we go live. Okay, so I'm going to go live right now, and it'll take a few seconds, but Zoom is communicating with YouTube, setting up the live stream by sending over keys and passwords. I'll show you more on that later with the live custom streaming, but in a second you'll see that the signal has been sent from Zoom to YouTube and we are streaming. So streaming to Facebook is as quick and simple as streaming to YouTube. It's the same process, so you would open up Zoom, you would go to the bottom right, click on more, click on live on Facebook this time, and that will bring up the Facebook prompt. Here is where you will tell Facebook where you want to share your live stream. So here we will pick share on a page that we manage, and I'm going to choose my Eden Matheson media page, and I'm going to post as Eden Matheson media. Click on next. Now Zoom is communicating with Facebook in the same way that it communicated with YouTube, sending those codes, sending those passcodes to allow the stream to go through. Once it's gone through, you should see the live producer for Facebook. So we're not live yet. Like before, we'll have to add a title, a description, and then you'll see the live option. Clicking the blue go live will send the live stream out to your page, and that is how you live stream on Facebook. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll show you the time difference between the actual meeting and the live stream. So there I'm showing a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and I should put a timer on the screen, but if we count to around 15 seconds to 20 seconds, you should see it appear in Facebook. There is. So that's the kind of lag, that's the kind of time difference that you'll be dealing with. That is actually normal, so that is normal, don't worry about that. To end the live stream, you can either close the meeting by ending meeting this way, end meeting for all, or by clicking more and stopping the live stream using that button there. If you would like to end the live stream but not end the meeting, then going through the more option is probably the best way, because then you can talk after the live stream has ended to whoever's in the meeting. But if you were to end the live stream, then that would kick everyone out of the meeting room. But yeah, that is the quickest way to live stream to YouTube or Facebook through Zoom.
So you have seen there that is the quickest way to live stream on YouTube and Facebook. It's the way that you would, it's probably the first way that you would try, or the first way that I would recommend. It's quite straightforward, as you saw there. I did it in 10 minutes. And the hardest part, the most difficult part about all of that is probably the setup. The setup you're only going to do once. Once you've done that, then you won't have to worry about it. So yes, hopefully I was able to demonstrate it nicely on there. Yes. By the way, I forgot to mention, but if you have any questions, either drop it down in the chat or let us know at the end. Because yeah, I'm sure there's going to be many questions, as I had when I was kind of learning or going through all of this. But right now we are going to go into the next topic, which is streaming to multiple platforms. So the way that we just saw was just streaming to either YouTube or Facebook. But this one, we kind of live in a time where we know YouTube isn't enough, and just Facebook isn't enough, and we want to kind of reach as many people as possible, and that's made possible by loads of like third-party software and many softwares out there. So that's what we're going to cover now. So Zoom cannot yet stream to more than one platform at the same time using just its own software. I'm sure that that'll be possible in the future, but as right now, you can't do that. So you'll need a third-party software. You'll need an extra software that would work with Zoom or work with any streaming platform. And here are the main ones. So some of you might recognize a few of these logos. We have Twitch. We don't have Twitch. We have OBS. We have Restream. We have Caster, and we have Streamlabs by OBS as well. But this is kind of like your middleman. This is kind of like the middle part of kind of the puzzle. Before, if we go back to the quickest way to live stream, we just had Zoom, and then we had where Zoom was sending the signal to, which was YouTube and which was Facebook. But here we have something in between, which will allow you to send the signal to different networks, to other networks out there. So the middle diagram is probably the best representation of what's happening. So the green logo is basically Zoom. It's basically where you start the meetings, where you host the meetings, and where that first signal gets sent out. And that goes into a software, a multi-streaming platform. In this case, we're looking at Caster, and then Caster kind of manages that the signal and sends it out to whichever platform you pick, whatever platform you would like to send it out to. And the good thing about this and a lot of these multi-streaming platforms are you don't have a restriction over the amount of you don't have a restriction over where the signal gets sent to. So you can see that you can send the signal to Facebook and YouTube, but then also you can send it to Vimeo, you can send it to Twitch, and you can send it to anywhere. It's pretty cool. So so my experience with using all of this or getting introduced to this started last year. So when the whole country got put into like a lockdown and churches were closed, it was actually Pastor Adam Ramdin who did his research, tried to find like the best way to live stream, I believe, and the most important places to live stream was YouTube and Facebook. Live streaming isn't new to NEC or the NEC youth. Obviously at like camp meeting or different events, they have streamed, but they have that experience of streaming. But when it comes to like these Zoom live streams or streaming without the whole setup, it's a completely different field. So streaming to mainly Facebook and YouTube was Pastor Adam's priority, and the first kind of third-party software, or I should say multi-streaming software that he found was Restream. So Restream is that R, you can see it in the bottom left-hand corner. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Restream, but Restream is one of the popular ones out there. This service works for a few sessions for us, but we had a few problems. It was mainly like a few inconsistencies and a few restrictions. For example, unless you go to the most expensive plan, you can also, unless you go to the most expensive plan, all the streams on the first couple plans have a Restream branding, and I mean it works, but I feel like it kind of it could be without it, it could make it more professional. So it could be more professional without it. So with those restrictions, Pastor Adam was looking around and he found Castor. I think he got Castor recommended by someone, but Castor is that logo in the bottom right. So this is where this is where Castor.io came into the picture, and this is the software that I used, or that we use now. So this is what we I highly recommend Castor.io, and soon I'll show you why I recommend it. Also, the interface is really nice to work with, and although Restream is more expensive, I think for what you get out of it, Castor has a lot more, which was interesting. So I think that kind of made the decision to go with Castor a lot easier. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to try and show you a live demonstration on how to set up Castor. But before I do that, I should probably show you the compatible platform. So before you start using Castor, it's important that you that you're aware of which platforms you can stream to. So hopefully you can see that on the screen. You obviously have your Facebook and YouTube at the top, but these are all the other compatible platforms that you can stream to, or you can stream to all of them at the same time. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so let's get into the live demonstration. So bear with me 1 second as I set up this screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from the beginning. So as if you were setting up a new multi-stream. Okay, I think we got, hopefully you can see that screen there. So if we go to the top and we go to Castor.io, this is the web page that you'll find. We want to go to login. We want to sign in, so I'm going to be signing in using the NEC youth account. And here we have the kind of the portal that we use for NEC Youth live streams. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to delete this one real quick. And one just appeared. Let's try that again. Okay, I don't know what. Okay, sometimes we get like an internal sort of like a server error that has happened before. So what I do sometimes I switch browsers, but let's try this again. Some technical difficulties. 1 second. So let's open Safari again. And this process doesn't usually take, it doesn't take that long to set up. Okay, let's try this. It's kind of glitched right now. It can't see some of my portals, but let's go with this because this will work. So when you want to create a new sort of, let's call it portal, but they call it a multi-stream. Go to create new in the top right. Go into new multi-stream, and then this is kind of what the portal. This is kind of what the multi-stream is going to be called. So I'm going to call it test streams And hosting region, select where you are. I'm in the UK, so I'll go London, UK, click and save. Once we do that, we're going to add our platforms. So these are all the platforms that you'd want to stream to. So I quite like using YouTube just because with Facebook, so YouTube will be my go-to because with Facebook, you need an account to access or to watch live streams. However, with YouTube, I guess it's like the new aged TV. I guess you don't need an account as such to watch that. So bear that in mind when if you want to kind of stream to many people, depending on who your audience is. Also with YouTube, with a lot of smart TVs out there, you can obviously watch YouTube on those TVs. So I guess it's a nice alternative to watching a live TV. Also, speaking about live TV, remember 3ABN? Like 3ABN, back in the days, they came in and they installed your like a little box so you can watch, have access to that and the Hope channel and all of that. But right now, if you go into youtube.com, type in 3ABN live, you've got a way of watching some gospel channels on there, so it's quite cool. Okay, so back to this. If we go to add platform, we're going to go to YouTube. We're going to go to connect to YouTube events. This is right now I'm going to connect the NEC Youth YouTube account. So here, sometimes you might see this if you have a YouTube account. You have your normal email and then you have this other channel. This channel is the NEC Youth account, which has a YouTube channel connected to it. So I'm going to click on that real quick. Just check the permissions, but you want to allow everything so Caster can communicate with YouTube. And then once that is authorized, then you can head back to Caster. Okay, so now that that's gone through, when you select an event is kind of like a live stream event. So for example, with NEC Youth, we have online church. So I would have online church here. We want to create a new event, and let's go with, and then here you want to enter your stream title. So for the stream title, I'm going to say, I'm going to call it online church test. And then for the stream description, you want to have something that kind of describes the stream to anyone that may be watching. So I'm going to call it, I'm going to say join us for today's online church test. Okay, so that's good. And then you want to create the platform. Once you've done that, that is, it'll take a few seconds to communicate with YouTube. But once you've done that, that is how you set up YouTube in Caster. Okay, so I'm going to do this similar sort of thing for Facebook. I'm going to get that in there. One thing to bear in mind is, in fact, we'll get into that in a bit, but keep an eye on this part here where it says linked. Okay, let's I'll give you more on that in a second. Let's go to Facebook. Facebook, continue with Facebook. And then you're going to have to sign in. Once you've signed in, again, you're going to get this message and it'll connect automatically. I did this slightly earlier, so you can see that Facebook already sent the permissions to Caster. Hopefully you're still following along. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, again, we're going to title this. So let's title the stream online church test. But before we do, I'm going to create an event. And when you sign into Facebook, it's going to show you all the pages that you can stream onto. So here you can see I've got admin over a few pages, but the one I'm going to focus on is Eden Matheson Media. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to again give a description. See if this works. And just for this one, I'm just going to say join us, and I'm going to create the platform. And that will take a few seconds, but then there you go. So you have your two, your YouTube and your Facebook Live. All you need to do now is you need to connect your Zoom to Caster, because we haven't done that yet. And then once you go live on Zoom, it'll send the signal to Caster, and then that will send the signal out to all the platforms that you have attached. So in this case, it's YouTube and it's Facebook. Okay, so we should probably head to Zoom now, so to show you how to link Zoom to Caster. So let's see. Bear with me a sec. Okay, let's do that now. So we want to open up a browser. We want to head over to zoom.us and we want to sign in. So my account, I've signed in already and I'm here with the NEC Youth. So when you're here, what you will need to do is you will need to start a new meeting. So let's schedule a meeting. I'll schedule. Let's just call this my meeting test. A description is optional, but I'm going to put that there. And you want to save the meeting. You can go through all the settings if you'd like. There's a lot of settings to kind of customize it, but yeah, once you've done that, if you scroll down to the bottom and you see like the polling area and the live stream area, this is where you want to be, the live streaming. You have an option to kind of configure your live stream settings. So I'm going to click on this, and here it's going to ask for a stream URL and a stream key. Now, the stream URL is also known as a RTMP, which is a real-time messaging protocol. And essentially what this is the same way you would type in your Facebook email and then your Facebook password to get into Facebook. You would need Zoom would need Caster's credentials for it to send that signal to Caster. Yep, and the way you do this is you go back into Caster and you find those credentials from here, this area. So these are standard, these don't usually change from multi-platform to multi-platform, but they're here. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy the URL. I'm going to paste it into here. And then the stream key. So the URL is pretty standard, but the stream key is unique, and you don't really want to be showing this because this is the kind of the encrypted part. And before you can save it, you have to add a live streaming page URL. So this, what I usually do for this one is I copy the multi-streaming website. And what this will do is when you go live on Zoom, it will kind of display the live streaming page URL so you can log in and kind of, yeah, stream that way. But yeah, the importance of I feel like this is not that important. It's good to tell you when Zoom and Caster are communicating, but we'll go with this for now. But it's not that important. I could put my own website there if I wanted to, and it wouldn't affect it. Okay, so let's not update it right now. If we go back to live streaming, we can see that something is configured. So this something is the credentials for Caster. Okay, so now that is armed, and we've created a new Zoom meeting. I want to show you. But it's going to be quite difficult. So basically I want to show you me going onto Zoom, kind of like you saw before, going into the going into the live and basically live streaming. So live streaming using Zoom. But it's quite difficult because I can't use Zoom on two devices at the same time, and I'm bringing this training to you through Zoom. So what I'll do is I've got my laptop here up here. I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to hopefully try and start this meeting here. See if this works, bear with me. Okay, so I've got my meeting up here on this screen. I'm going to mute this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto more in the bottom right hand corner like you saw before. I'm going to go to, and this is in Zoom, I'm going to go to live on custom live streaming service. So before we clicked live on Facebook, we clicked on live on YouTube, but now we're going to live on custom live streaming service. That's giving me a prompt right now. Zoom is talking to Caster, and in a second you should see where it says waiting for stream, you should see that the signal is sent. So the most difficult part in that was just the setup. What I've done here is I've just started up a meeting, and I've just gone live there. So on my Zoom, as you can see on this meeting Zoom in the top left, it should say live, and whenever you see that live, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're live. So I like to call it live meaning it's going out to YouTube and Facebook. What it does mean is it's sending the signal out to a platform, and in this case it's sending the signal out to Caster. So you can see that it's live here, and in order to go live to the different platforms, you'd have to use these toggles. So if I was to toggle this on, it will basically start the stream, and that's how you start the stream. Hopefully you guys followed me there. Hopefully that was kind of straightforward to follow, because it can get difficult. So when I say that there's a lot of moving parts, what you can do is you can go to YouTube. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'm going to schedule an event through YouTube. So if I go to YouTube, go to the top right and make sure you're logged in under the account that you want to make your event. Go to the top right, and underneath upload video you should see go live. While that's loading up, here you can see some upcoming meetings, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule a stream. So you're going to want to go to the top right, schedule a stream, and you're going to create a new stream. So here you want to title the stream the event name. So I'm going to just say event name. I'm going to make this stream private for now, but you would probably want to make it public or unlisted. Have a description. I'm going to use this, and upload a thumbnail if you'd like, and then go to not made for kids. So you'll have to specify this, and unless it's made for kids, say not made for kids. So create the stream. Once you do that, the stream has been created, and all your subscribers or anyone that's following should see that there's an event happening at a certain time. To change that time, you want to go to edit. You'll see this kind of field again, and you can change the date. So I could change it to the 23rd at 1 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to save this, and basically this is the way that I used to stream beforehand. It's quite cool because it does send out that notification to everyone that there has been a stream, or there is an event happening on the 23rd. So that's really cool that way. But what it means is you'll need to come back into YouTube Studio every time you would have a meeting. So when it was the online church, I would have to come back into YouTube Studio earlier on in the week before online church starts, and I would need to kind of set up the stream again, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But I'll show you that process in a second. Okay, so the most important part about this, the YouTube Studio, is the stream keys. So, but before I get into the stream keys, before I start moving them into Caster, what I'm going to do is I am going to quickly explain, or kind of show you the way I how I imagine how I kind of picture the stream keys to kind of have a better understanding of how Zoom communicates with Caster, and how Caster communicates with YouTube and Facebook. So let's see if I can get this up. 1 second. Okay, so I do this. Okay, so if I share this, so streaming to multiple platforms. So the way that I kind of have to picture the RTMPs and the streaming keys is kind of like this. So kind of like the diagram that you saw before, but you have Zoom, you have that middle service, Caster, then you have YouTube, Facebook, and other. And both Caster and YouTube, Facebook, and other have a stream key and a stream URL. And Zoom has an input. So before you saw me put the input from. So before you saw me put the stream key and the stream URL into the input for Zoom, but now we have to kind of make that connection with YouTube and Facebook. So this is like the other way. I'm showing you the other way of streaming. Yes. So let's head back to bear with me, going back and forth between the desktop and the slideshow. Okay, so we're back. So this here is basically the stream key that we want to enter into Caster. So Zoom's all set up. Zoom just needed to send that signal to Caster. Now everything else goes through Caster. So so this is the other way to set up the YouTube streaming. So if you go to add platform, let's say we're going to add YouTube, but instead of connecting to YouTube events, which is the way that I would recommend, just because it's automatic, you don't need to worry about the setup process. You just have to set it up one time and it will work all the time. We're going to go to setup with server key. Okay, so once we're here, we're going to do similarly to what we did with Zoom. Is we're going to go to YouTube. We're going to copy the stream URL. And we're going to paste that into the stream server. Then we're going to do the same to the key. And once you do this, I'm going to paste it here. So that one, yeah, you can see that key there. So you don't really want to be giving this out, but that's fine in this case. And I'm going to create the platform. Okay, so here, earlier I said to pay kind of attention to here where it says linked. As you can see down here, it doesn't say linked. So what that means is if I was to toggle this toggle on, although and we're live, it would only send that signal to YouTube if I was to arm the YouTube, if I was to, I say arm, but yeah, if I was to set it up in the YouTube studio. So right now it says excellent condition here, and in a few seconds you should see the signal get sent to YouTube studio. So there you go, we got the signal there, and you can see NEC Youth. Once you've done that, if you have enable auto start toggled off, which I do here, you can only go live if, well, to go live you click the top right, which says go live here. So yeah, I kind of wanted to show you those two ways, sort of the linked ways and the kind of the manual way of starting a live stream in Caster. But as I said, the way that I would recommend is using the linked way, because I guess it less to think about, and you can concentrate on just streaming and the programming. But if you wanted to do the initial setup, then you know that way now. So we're streaming now. If I was to go live here, we would have gone live. We'll be live, and you've got analytics. You've got stream health. Stream health is quite important because this kind of assesses your internet speed, and it kind of tells you when you're kind of dropping, when the kind of bit rate is dropping and you're kind of losing signal and all of that stuff. So it's quite interesting once you're streaming. But to end the stream, there's two ways to end the stream. You can end it in Zoom, or you can end it in Caster. And to end it in Caster, you just have to toggle that off. So yes, that is setting up in Caster. And yeah, hopefully that wasn't too complicated. The setup, you only have to set up once. but once you've set it up, then everything else is pretty, it flows. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you was kind of this in action. So once that is set up, and if you wanted to kind of I call it arm, but kind of get an event ready, there is a way to do it if you are a regular live streamer, and I'm going to quickly show you that now, and hopefully this will be the glue that kind of makes everything make sense. Just 2 seconds, I'm going to share my screen.
So to live stream using YouTube's integrated live stream scheduling system, what we're going to do is we're going to need 2 programs. So use Caster as our live stream manager, and we're going to use YouTube. The way that we're going to do this is you want to open youtube.com/NECYouth. Okay, now we're in YouTube. You want to look at this little live symbol up here. It's actually a published symbol. Click on it and look for Go Live. This is where we're going to find the live dashboard. So in the manage feature, you want to go to the top right. So you want to click on Schedule Stream, and once you click that, this is the main hub. This is where we want to be. All of our previous live streams are in here, and clicking on like a template, as you will allow all the settings to kind of migrate onto the existing stream. So in this case, let's say we want to schedule a Real Talk. We look for a Real Talk previous stream that we've used, and then you click onto it, and this will come up, and this is kind of the template that I use. So Real Talk, you want to change the title. You have controls over making it public, making it private. This part is where we change the description, so we make it a little bit more personalized to the Real Talk session. And then this is quite important, this is the date section, so just schedule the date and time for the Real Talk session, and that will kind of act as the countdown. Once you make it public, then that acts as the countdown for people to keep tabs and kind of log when we're going to show the session. You can change the thumbnail by doing this, by just clicking changing thumbnail, making changing it to something more relevant. Keep everything as no, so is it for kids? No. And yeah, that's basically how you do that. Once you've done that, it's kind of armed in a way that Caster, once you toggle the live stream on, it will just live stream. So that's like the main part. If you want to look in detail on how this works, I've put YouTube here next to Caster. Caster's kind of got that interface that I've already set. Facebook can work like this, but to make things easier, I just kept it as one toggle for Facebook. But for YouTube, we have different toggles for different sessions. Each toggle has been programmed to a specific stream key, which is why you need to pick the different timetable options, like the different scheduling templates, because each template has a different stream key, and that allows us to stream to YouTube. But yeah, don't worry about what it says, a live stream in the top right, or end live stream once you're streaming. The way that I've set up the YouTube is everything is pretty automatic from Caster's side, so you don't need to worry about the YouTube. But yeah, that's how you do it.
Okay, so I'm quite conscious of the time, so and I can see that you guys have a few questions. So what I will do is, so I can see someone asked what are the downsides of using OBS, and I think the main downside is kind of the moving parts. So last year I introduced a lot of stuff. I even used the OBS, but what I found out was each week it would require a longer amount of time to set up, a longer amount of time to kind of set up beforehand and maintain on the day. So that's that downside for OBS for me. But OBS Studio is a very powerful software, and for those of you that don't know, OBS is an open broadcasting software, and you can do a lot with that. Other questions? Okay, yeah, no, the stream key in Caster was basically on the right hand side. I can try and show you that quickly now. Let's see if I can show you. 2 seconds. I'm going to my desktop and I'm going to bring in Caster. So yeah, so when you're in Caster, this is kind of like the main screen. The stream key is found here, and the stream URL is this here. So that's where you find those. See if you have any more questions, keep them coming in. So ooh, 1 second, I'm kind of scrolling up. Okay, I can see a question about how one email account, when you enter it in, has access to multiple YouTubes, and it would be good if there was a way to have them separated. I think that's what that says. But yeah, that's true. There's also, I started off talking about the quickest way to live stream. Notice I didn't say the easiest way. The quickest way isn't necessarily the easiest way. The easiest way, I would say, is to so the easiest way to live stream would be to go to youtube.com, go to go live in the top right, and go live through YouTube. That would be the easiest way. But with that, there's a lot that you can't do. For example, you can't have other participants in other screens, like the way that Zoom has it, where you can have like a panel of like 12 people, and 12 people are in their own areas. You can only have, because the way that YouTube Studio and YouTube works is you would need another software like OBS or other softwares out there. That's a good question. So what is the best way to connect my camera to the PC for a stream? So the best way and the easiest way is just to use a capture device. So just look for camera capture, and what that will do is it allows you to plug the capture device into your computer, and you link your camera to the computer using a HDMI cable. So that's yeah, that's quite cool. Questions. I think those are the main ones. The other topics I wanted to talk about was how to share your screen. Now, I believe there is a video here that you should be able to see. Let's see if you can see that. And the way that you share your screen is you would click this here, which says share screen, and you should see all of your screens. If you have multiple desktops, then you'll see that here. But I'm going to share this screen here. Make sure that you enable these two settings where you're enabling your sound and your video, optimizing for video clip, if you would like to share your sound. If you don't do that, then yeah, no one's going to hear your sound. And that is the way that you would share your screen. On the topic of this, I would recommend a 2-screen setup. So if you have one computer, I would recommend that you have, if you you're on one computer, and I recommend that you have another screen. And the reason for this is if like me, I'm running a sort of like a PowerPoint software, which when I click show screen, it goes onto that second display. When it does that, it means I have full control over my main computer screen. Because if you didn't do that, then when you click on show, well, like a PowerPoint, when you show your PowerPoint, it takes over the whole screen, and there's nothing much that you could do. And everything that you do, everyone can kind of see that. So I highly recommend a second screen. Okay, and a few other things to keep in mind is good Wi-Fi. Make sure you have a good Wi-Fi connection. I think you don't have to be the speeds of your internet doesn't have to be too like fast. I think download. Yeah, I don't think they need to be that quick. I had a slide, but I can't seem to find it here of the recommended speeds. But good Wi-Fi is needed. Also, also on that, plugging into an Ethernet port. So that's the port at the back of your Wi-Fi router. It's always better to plug in to or hardwire your internet into a computer, because that will kind of remove any sort of it'll basically improve the speed of your internet, because it's not traveling through there. It's going straight in hardwired. So I recommend that. And since I've done that, I haven't had any or haven't had many issues with that. How do you set up two screens? So to set up two screens on most computers, so like this one, let's see if I can show you. This computer, they have a HDMI port. What you want to do is you want to go from a HDMI port to a HDMI. So in your TV, you can connect it to your TV, and you have that display. You have so you just have to connect it in, and it kind of, whatever you see on your computer, you'll see it on your TV. So it's actually a lot simpler than you think. You can also connect it to a monitor as well. And then you would need to go into your settings and just specify which screen is which. But yeah, so that's how you would connect to two screens. Also, if you don't have it's like a TV that you can connect to, or a screen, you can even use a tablet of some sort. So for example, Pastor Ramdin, when he did a couple of the streams, he had his iPad handy and his MacBook. So what he did was he used Apple's internal feature, which is called Sidecarts, I think it is, and that worked out well. So when he started the live, he basically used his iPad as that screen. But yes, I'm not sure if there's any other questions, and I hope you're all understanding everything so far. But if not,
Eden, how do you get good sound like you've done today?
How do you get good sound? That's a good question. So right now I am using a microphone, but you can get good sound. So I'm actually using this. I'm actually using sort of an audio interface, where you can see there. And basically, what I recommend is, if you go to the settings, no matter what device you're using, you go to audio. And you want to enable original sound, because what Zoom does, it kind of processes your audio, so it's not as clear as it could be. But if you enable that, you should see a little toggle on your Zoom, and once you enable that, it gives you good sound. So that's in the settings, and that is just enabling original audio sound. Craig, I'm conscious of the time. Are we? Should we start wrapping up, or is there any other questions that we could answer?
Yeah, I think No, I mean, firstly, Eden, I just want to say an excellent presentation. Thank you for what you've covered. I think we've probably got time just for that last question that's come in. Would you recommend a USB mic?
Yes. So it depends. It depends what you're using it for. I feel like a USB mic is going to give you really good audio, depending on what mic you get. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's not needed. It's not essential. But if you're going to be doing a lot of sermons, a lot of talks through live stream, then yeah, I recommend that you get a USB mic.
Perfect. Thank you. Eden, I do want to comment though, like just your setup, the camera, the blurred background. You know, what are you using? Is it what type of camera are you using right now?
So for this session, I'm actually using my camera. So I'm using a Sony Alpha kind of mirrorless camera, and I've just connected it using that HDMI cable and that capture device into Zoom, and that's just kind of allowed me to use the camera. But yeah. So.
Perfect. Well, I want to say thank you. Really appreciate the presentation that you've done. Eden, contact people may want to send you maybe a direct message or something.
Yes.
Any advice or guidance if they need that. Are you open to that?
Yes, yeah. If you have any questions, which I'm sure there'll be many, then I'll leave my email in the chat. My email is just edenmathesonmedia@gmail.com, which is my first and last name and then media. But yeah, just drop me an email. I'm happy to kind of help out. Also with this knowledge, I feel like if any of you would like to kind of try live streaming, then I'm happy to have you like help out with the NEC Youth live streams. That'll be amazing. But yeah, you have the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Eden, I'm just going to say a prayer for you and for those that will be using the skills that you taught today. Really grateful. Excellent presentation. Again, let's pray. Dear Lord, I thank you for the privilege to have had Eden join us today to share his skills that he's gained over time and how we've seen him using those skills through the whole pandemic. We've been very grateful for what he's done for the kingdom. And right now, I pray that as he shares some practical ways on how to do live streaming, that we'll know how to do that effectively for what we're doing and when we need to do it. Yeah. So I thank you again. Be with Eden and everybody who's watched that will be using these skills. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.